The state issued these guidelines for various industries. You can go to the state website and click on your industry and get some guidance and checklists to download that would apply to your industry. For the most part, the checklist and the guidelines really mirror each other and very similar. And what they really walk through are these 5 topics that I have listed on this slide. And so every business, even if you're not open at this point, should be thinking about developing these written plans and dealing with these checklists. So it's good to download those and start looking through that, what you're going to need to do in planning to reopen. So on this first topic, the written worksite specific plan, that requires the employer to investigate how they're going to investigate COVID-19 cases, alert local health departments, identify and isolate infected employees and contacts that the employees had, and as well how it's going to reopen for each specific location that the employer has. We do have a checklist that we've developed within our firm for this. Actually, the checklist is for COVID-19 positive cases in the workplace. So if you want that checklist, reach out to us. We'll be happy to share that with you. On the second topic, the topics for employee training, it's recommending that the employer train the employees on how to prevent the spread of the virus, how to self-screen at home, and they recommend going over the CDC guidelines for that, recommending to the employees to stay at home if they're sick, when to seek medical attention, good hand washing protocol, physical distancing protocol at work, and when they're away from work, what are the best practices on that, face coverings, and other information about leave benefits and workers' compensation benefits for employees. Item number 3 here on the list, individual control measures and screening, just covers how to screen, take temperature checks, screen employees, encourage workers who are sick to stay at home, about the hands washing and using sanitizers, also how to provide disposable gloves to workers. And for different industries, there's different requirements too. So obviously, if you're in a higher risk industry, you've got to provide additional PPE to the workers. And we saw it come out for restaurants as well in these guidelines. If you've got dishwashers, some type of face cover for them and face masks. So if it splashes up into their face when they're washing the dishes, not getting into their eyes and things like that. So take a look at your industry and make sure you're complying with those. And also number 4 is the cleaning and disinfecting protocols. They're referring the businesses to look at the EPP approved list for these goods and Cal OSHA requirements for how to use those as well. And then finally, the 5th topic here is the physical distancing guidelines. Obviously, the 6-foot spacing and how to set that up in the workplace and to modify the workplace to abide by that. Of note that I want to bring up here too, there are been some requirements for certain industries to require the use of face covers in working areas where physical distancing cannot be maintained, and face coverings for workers who are required or must be within 6 feet of customers. And then here in the County of LA, obviously that's going to be different. Just as of Wednesday in the County of LA, there was a requirement that even if you go outside of your house, I was just reading this morning to prep for the webinar. Everybody in the County of LA, if you leave your house, you're basically required, from what I can tell, to have a face covering. And even if you're not around other people, they're saying you should cover one in case you come in contact with other people. So the County of LA is still very buttoning this down and staying very tight on these issues. And I bring this slide up too because there's a lot of confusion out there. I've seen some guidance from companies or other sources on a national level on whether these face coverings are required state by state. But here in California, since we went to this county by county, the framework basically that the governor announced, it's going to be very specific to your county. So if you've got locations and businesses in various counties, you're going to have to research each county that you're operating in and see what's going to apply. And I wouldn't be surprised, if the reopening has different, for County of LA, has different requirements than what the state has set out as well for businesses. So pay attention to that going forward and just note those variances. Now, on the state level, jumping back to the state level, we did see some physical distancing guidelines that I want to bring up here too for restaurants. Some questions that I had with the guidelines. It did say that restaurants, once they do reopen, they should be screening guests for symptoms. What's this mean? What type of screenings, temperature checks, asking customers if they have symptoms, do they have to log it, things like that. It's a big question. It just says you're supposed to do this. It doesn't set forth what kind of guidance. And then also it says limit the number of patrons at a single table. That's all the guidance it sets forth. So what's that mean? If a family of 10 or a family group of 20 comes in, does that mean that they all can't sit together? But it's something to be thinking about as we're reopening here in California, throughout California.